Everybody wants to sit high on the food chain, but not everybody can sit in that throne. And Kaki is sure he'll get that crown. But after losing a child and losing a best friend, will he make it? Here are his heavy lyrics.
Heavy lyrics.
Heavy lyrics.
Heavy lyrics.
Heavy lyrics.
Heavy lyrics.
What's up, man? It's Kaki from the Food Chain, man. These are my heavy lyrics.
Heavy lyrics.
Heavy lyrics.
Kaki Robert Robbins was born December 15, 1990 in East Palo Alto. When he was 9, his family made the life-changing decision to move to Stockton, California to what they said would have been a better life.
I was kind of young at the time. I was just, I looked at it as just meeting new friends, I guess, So I didn't really, we never stayed away from East Palo Alto. We would always go back like every week and everything. So it never really set in that I was like missing people that I grew up with.
Do you like Stockton overall?
It was different. I could see the difference between the two cities.
He mentioned how his dad is there for him now more so than when he was a kid. And when it came to his mom,
My mom, I love my mom to death. She still stays in East Palo Alto. She just moved back about 2 years ago. We talk every so often. She's busy, I'm busy, but when we talk, it's always good to hear her voice or whatever.
he credits the man he is today due to his stepfather, who he met when he was 8 years old. He said he put him through sports and was everything that a father figure was supposed to be. He said his stepfather didn't disrupt his life. In fact, if anything, Kaki says it helped.
Because he was a very positive person. So.
And when his parents ended for divorce,
It got to me, It got to me. I didn't really expect that to happen. Everything looked so, perfect, and he was the ideal father that everyone was supposed to have, So, I mean, it bothered me. It still bothers me, and I'm still in contact with him. My mom still talks to him and everything. So, I mean, I'm just rolling with it.
and of their short-lived marriage, Kaki learned one vital lesson.
When you have something that you really love, a person that you really love, I think you should do whatever it takes to keep that person, because I feel like even though they separated, I feel like pride wouldn't let him come back.
His family went to church every weekend, a faith foundation that Kaki has oftentimes returned to.
Even when we moved out here, it's go all the way back to the Bay, church every weekend. In Menlo Park at Dr. Bostic's church in Menlo Park. My whole family goes there, still go there to this day. I haven't been in a while, but I'm looking forward to going there soon.
He says God has a special control over his life and that he's being tested. When I asked him what he was being tested with, he had an interesting story I would have never seen coming.
Well, in 2010, I lost my son, my only son, RJ. I lost him in a tragic accident, and it was just crazy. It was crazy, and to this day, it impacts me heavily. That's my whole motivation, He's my whole motivation, Just recently, 4 months ago, I'm sure everybody know, I lost my best friend, like my right-hand man, I lost him. So it's like, the two most important people that have been involved in my life, it's just, they're not here no more. So it's hard, and God, I guess, that's his plans for me, to get through that and to help other people get through similar situations.
I wanted to back up and get to know RJ's mother. Where did they meet and what was their story?
I met her when she was 13. I was 15. We both went to Lincoln Hall sophomore. She's a freshman. you know, we started out as friends, and you know, and it just we hung around each other so much, it just started leading, you know, other things or whatever. So we became, you know, we got together. She got pregnant at 16, you know. We had RJ, I was 18, she was 16. You know, like, I mean, we had our ups and downs like every relationship, but that was the first girl I've ever been in love with and been with for a long period of time. You know, we were together for 7 years, you know, so, I mean, that was the first experience I had where I felt special about somebody, and I would have never like expected that to ever leave, you know. But you know, as time progressed, you know, and things happened, we separated, and I don't know, you know, it's just life. It's just some people work out, some people don't. Just because you have a kid, that don't mean it's gonna work out. Things get more difficult, you know, with a kid involved, and you try to force it, you try to mend it, but sometimes it's just not meant to be. And all you can do is be the best parent you can be when that happens, you know, and that's all I tried to do.
He got the news of the pregnancy at basketball practice. On his way to college on a basketball scholarship, the pregnancy changed his life.
It was a hard blessing, I guess.
So, needless to say, you didn't go?
No, I didn't go to college. I started working. So I could, you know, take care of him. Was driving forklifts at a warehouse, you know, just an average 9-to-5 job, you know, supporting him, make sure he was cool, he had insurance, medical, and everything, you know. So I just stepped up to the plate. I manned up, you know. Unfortunately, I couldn't follow my dreams with hoop, but, you know, I just did what I had to do.
He was afraid to tell his mother, and rightfully so. But to his disbelief, she wasn't mad. In fact, all that she wanted him to do,
she was just like, oh, well, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta man up, you know. So yeah, so I manned up, you know. I took my mom's advice and manned up, and I, you know, started working.
While at work, he got the call. RJ was ready to arrive.
And just when I went inside the room, and you know, she was in labor, and it was just like a crazy feeling, you know. Like I never would have, you know, imagined watching something I made, you know, like coming into this world. Like it was an unbelievable feeling, and you know, I was just overwhelmed with like just happiness.
Cocky said he got along with the family, but of course there were a few minor bumps and bruises along the
Like
way.
any father would. I mean, I got his daughter pregnant at 16, you know. So at first it was, you know, it was rough. It was rough. It was, you know, they kind of just, they seen I was a good dude, you know. I wasn't into nothing negative, you know. I was working, so it was like I was a good dude. And we all went out to dinner one day, and me and him just got to talking, and we kind of clicked. We had similar interests. We both like basketball, you know. And then, you know, soon after that, I happened to move in with him.
Okay. How was that transition?
It was different, you know, because I'm shy, you know. So like, I don't go in people's refrigerator. I don't, you know. I'm gonna use the bathroom when everybody gone, like stuff like that, you know. So it was different, you know. But I got used to it. We clicked, you know. We both like the Warriors, so the Warriors game come on, we all watch it. RJ's running around, so it was cool. It was cool. We all adjusted.
How old was RJ when you passed?
RJ was 3.
He was 3?
He was 3.
What happened?
Mm.
Coming up on Cocky's Heavy Lyrics.
I mean, I know what they say happened, but I wasn't there. It's like 30 minutes later, and it's from, I get another call 30 minutes later, it's from her. So I'm like, that's weird. She know I'm working, you know, let me answer this. So I answer it, and, you know, it's just like straight mayhem.
On the series premiere of Heavy Lyrics, we've got Kid ATL, Branche Tayson, Denitra Moore, Looney Loon, Margie Love, and many more. So stay tuned right here on the CWN11.
Heavy lyrics.
How old was RJ when you passed?
RJ was 3.
He was 3?
He was 3.
What happened?
honestly, I mean, I know what they say happened, but I wasn't there. So, I mean, I can't really say. But this is my first time ever explaining what happens. I get this question a million times a day. You know, people hit me in my inbox because, you know, I put on Facebook every morning, "Good morning, RJ." You know, people ask me, "Who's RJ? What happened?" You know, so I mean, this is my first time going to, you know, really explain to my knowledge of, you know, what they say happened. You know, we stayed together at my house. My baby mom and my son. You know, I mean, I own the gun. I own the gun. Legally, everything was, you know, legit, and you know, I'm like, I'm very aware of my surroundings, and I'm very, my head is in the streets, you know. So like, I've been raised around a lot, and I've seen so much that I got a street mentality, you know. So like, I owned a gun because I just wanted that protection, you know. So, I mean, I went to work one day, and it's, you know, about 6-7 hours go by. I'm almost about to get off. You know, I just talked to my baby mom. She's at the house. She's asking me what I want to eat when I get off. You know, so I'm driving my forklift, and I get another text like 30 minutes later, and I get another call 30 minutes later. It's from her. So I'm like, that's weird. She know I'm working. You know, let me answer this. So I answer it. And, you know, it's just like straight mayhem. Like, she's crying, she's screaming, she's yelling. She's like, you know, RJ just shot himself with your gun. So, like, you know, when I just ran out the building, hopped in my car, and I just drove there. When I got there, he was already like taken to was already on his way to the hospital. And so I didn't know what was going on. Like, I didn't know what happened. I didn't want to ask how he was doing. I just kind of wanted to pray first and talk to God before I asked any questions. So, like, I didn't know nothing until, like, the police took me. They questioned me to make sure, you know, everything was like I wasn't there, and like just all night they took me all night, and me and her, and they was questioning us and whatever. They released us like later on that night. And they told me that he didn't make it. You know, and like it felt unreal. It felt unreal for like, still feel unreal. But you know, when people is a part of your everyday life and they're not there no more, it doesn't feel real. You know, it's just like that can't happen. Like, that don't happen to me. You hear about this stuff on the news, you know, this don't happen to me. But, like, you know, I mean, it was real. It was real life. And to this day, you know, it still affects me major.
When the police took you in for questioning instead of letting you go see your son,
that was crazy to me. They said it was protocol, but that was crazy, man. My brother was with me. He was damn near about to beat up the police. Like, wait, I didn't let him go see his son. Like, you know, like y'all could have came with him or something. You know, like, I didn't do nothing wrong, man. I'm at work trying to make a living. Like, I ain't did nothing. And, you know, they didn't let me see him, man. You know, so, yeah, it was tough, man.
when you got to the hospital, he had already passed?
I never got to the hospital.
You never made it?
Nah. After I was done talking to them, I mean, they told me at the end that I was done talking to them, they told me he didn't make it. And everybody was already, he's been gone. That whole time I was there with them, he wasn't here no more. You know, so it was new to me, but old to everybody else. But I had no connection to the outside world. They took my phone. They just put me in a room and just set me there, like I did something, you know. So this is just like messing with me. Like I don't know what's going on. They sit me in a room for 4 hours, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening with my son. I mean, I prayed nonstop for that whole time I was in there. You know, that's all I could do, just ask God for strength that He make it.
Did you ever think about pressing charges?
I couldn't. They pressed charges on me eventually. Yeah. They pressed charges on me, which didn't make sense to nobody. You know, I wasn't even there, but they saying my gun wasn't locked. So, you know, I mean, it was just weird to me because she knows I have a gun. She knows where it is. She knows, like, that would never happen. That's never happened with me there, you know. So I just didn't really understand the full story of what happened. Did somebody move did somebody move it? Did somebody, you know, tamper with it before? How was it, you know, accessible? But yeah, they pressed charges on me eventually, just for illegal storage of a firearm. Just got probation. I was in there for like 2 months fighting it. I could have fought it all the way, but I just wanted to get out and just get back to my life, you know. So, I mean, they gave me probation or whatever, and, you know, here I am.
Did you feel responsible?
Not at all. Not at all. Sometimes I ask myself, like, you know, I shouldn't even have a gun. But in all reality, if something would have happened, I'd have been like, why don't I have it? Like, you know? So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I know my intentions of why I had one. You know, it was in my name, it's legal. It wasn't like I was running around here robbing people or nothing. It was for the protection of my house. It's registered to my house, you know? So, I mean, I didn't feel no responsibility for that. You know, I wasn't even there. All I know is what they tell me. I didn't feel like it was fair for me to get jail time for that, you know. I just lost my son, you know. Like, I'm going through enough. Y'all gonna sit me in a room for all day for 2 months and tell me this is my fault? Like, you know. But I knew when everything got out, you know, in the courtroom, I know when all the evidence got out, there wasn't really nothing gonna happen to me. But her family was pushing for me to go to prison. Yeah. Like, our families did a big, like, split, and it was like family against family. They was fighting outside the courtroom, and it was crazy. It was crazy.
Why did they feel like, wait, get this one out. Why do they feel like you deserved the time when she was the one who was responsible for his well-being that day if she was watching him?
Because it's basically, that's her family. Family's gonna stick up for you regardless. My thing was, I wasn't mad that they're sticking up for her, but the thing about it is, why are you pushing for me to go to prison and I didn't do nothing? I wasn't there. We both lost. Like, at the end of the day, I didn't want nothing to happen to her either. Like, my thing is, I know her intentions. I know what kind of mom she is. I know you would never in life expect that or plan for that to happen, you know? And you know I would never in life want that to happen either. So we both know each other. Let's, you know, eliminate all the outside people and let's come together as parents. We both love this dude to death. Why would we push for each other to, you know, go to prison over a tragic accident, you know? It was just crazy to me. But I mean, I've talked to her after and she told me, you know, her family pushed her to do that, and, you know, but my family couldn't have did that to me. Like, I don't care what they was talking about. I'd have been like, I'm not gonna do that to her.
So then technically she's the one who pressed charges?
Basically, yeah. Her and her family, they pushed for the DA to press charges, and the charges came like 2 months after everything, you know. It was like months down the road that they came. So I'm living everyday life. I'm going through my life. I'm trying to get this behind me, and then I'm at a show in Modesto. I perform. I get off stage, it's like 5 police walking up to me inside the club, you know? And I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? And they like, well, we need to talk to you outside. Something to do with child endangerment. So it all came. I'm like, wow, like really? Yeah, really? I'm really gonna go to jail for this? Like, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I had a show, how it went down, everything. Like, it was like a sting operation at my show. It was crazy.
Did you feel like she was partly responsible in all this?
I mean, I feel like if you're at home with a 3-year-old, I feel like you should have eyes on, I feel like you're responsible for anything that happens to him. If he was playing with an electrical cord and electrocuted himself because you weren't watching, that was my fault too because it was my house. Like, it's just like, we know 3-year-olds get into stuff. How long do you go without checking on them? Or, I know he just didn't grab it and then, it was like, that's your job. You failed at your job that day, I'm doing my job. I'm trying to take care of y'all. You failed at your job that day.
Are you and the mother, do you guys still speak?
Nah. No. She moved on with life, I think she just had another kid. Yeah, I think she just had another kid, Congrats. Like, it doesn't bother me. This is 3 years ago, and it don't bother me. I'm happy for her, Every parent should be able to, be able to re-heal and love a kid again. Cause I know this didn't happen on purpose, So I wish her the best.
From there, I wanted to get to know about his music and what drove him. So music was always in your ear. You just didn't want to pursue it, or
yeah, I always
came first.
It was kind of natural. I used to write poems like when I was younger. I used to write a lot of poems, and it just came easy to me, like with words, so when it was time that we decided to rap, it was just like poetry on the beat, It was just the same exact thing, and it was just second nature to me.
What were your poems about?
I write poems about everything. Early at that time, I was writing poems about girls. Like, I had a girlfriend, and I write her a poem, and she would walk around with it at school in front of her binder, like under the little, little plastic sleeve. Like, I was just writing crazy poems. I used to have like 40 or 50 poems just at the house, just in a pile. Like,
how did Cocky come about?
Like throughout high school, I always just kind of being the cool kid, the cool guy, the best dressed. And all the girls used to just say I was just cocky and arrogant, but I was never arrogant, maybe a little cocky. So it just kind of made sense, it just flowed, it just went.
How'd you guys come up with Food Chain?
We was all chilling one day, and we were thinking of a name for our group. This is like right after RJ. We're sitting down, we're like, man, we need a name for our group. And we coming up with all types of names, and it just didn't stick. And Tall said Food Chain. I was like, okay, that sound kind of dope. Start using it in sentences like, yeah, you see them Food Chain dudes the other night? Just start rolling off the tongue. I was like, okay, yeah, Food Chain, that's what it is then, man. We're gonna rock with Food Chain. So Tall came up with Food Chain, and we just ran with it.
What did it stand for?
It just stand for basically standing out and being above and stronger than everybody else at the top of our food chain, So, basically, that's what it represented.
When did you start to do music?
After RJ passed, like, that's when I decided to go hard. I was like, I like life is too short to just do something you don't want to be doing, you know. And I just started going hard. Like me and Tall, we just made a vow to each other that we was gonna go hard. And you know, we came up with Food Chain, and we just started pushing.
How many songs have you guys done? How many albums?
Tall was just putting out his second mixtape, and I just got done putting out my second, and I'm working on my third now. So all together officially, we put out 4 in 2 years. We put out 4 projects in 2 years.
Were you guys collaborating on each other's, or?
Yeah, we would collaborate. We would have our own individual mixtape, but we would be on each other's. You know, we would collab, and he would be featured on mine. I would be featured on his.
So you guys are more like a label, more than bandmates?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we were just like, before he passed, we were just talking about doing a collaboration mixtape called Ken and Ryu. You know, the Street Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were gonna do one called Ken and Ryu, and you know, that was gonna be crazy.
Is that something that you guys played often or something?
Actually, that dude, like his mind, his creativity is just crazy. He came up with that name. And, you know, usually when he come up with something, I just roll with it because it's just tight, you know, it's just tight. It's just like, man, like, I like that. That's different. I like being different, you know, just stand out, be different. Like, nobody else is coming with names like we're coming with. You know, everybody keep the usual, the trap music, and you know, just the usual.
Yeah.
But nobody's coming with, like his mixtape is Duncan Penderhughes. My last mixtape is The Wedding Ring. Like, it's just different. You don't expect people like us to, you know, put out this type of music, you know, so it's just been different.
Ken and Ryu, do you guys have any, like, musics on that project, or it just never got to be fulfilled?
We got a few songs. We probably got about 3 or 4 songs into it, and yeah, it was underway. We just didn't, you know, we can get to finishing.
The conversation easily turned to Tall, Kaki's best friend he's had since elementary school. The two had an awkward chance encounter.
And we started out about to fight. We're about to fight each other.
Over what?
Well, it's crazy. We tell this story a million times. It was first day of school. We had the kids that lived in my neighborhood were his friends, but he didn't live in our neighborhood. He lived like outside, you know, somewhere else, like kind of far. That was the only people I knew, so I sat next to them first day of school inside, you know, assembly. And you know, all the seats are packed. He couldn't find nowhere to sit. So he walks up to my spot. I'm the new kid. He see me sitting next to his friends. He like, hey, bruh, like, get out of my seat. So I'm like, you know, kind of like, you. I know you not talking to me, like, and I'm like, bro, I'm not going nowhere. This not your seat. Like, you know, we start going back and forth. He like, after school, I'm gonna fire on you. I'm like, well, it's whatever then. You know, after school, it's whatever. I'm not getting out the seat. So whatever. We get through the whole day, and after school, his older brother went to that school, and my older brother went to that school, and they both had got into it that day. So after school, I'm walking with my brother. He's walking with his brother. We see each other, and we all walk up. They like, oh yeah, man, your brother said something to my brother, and blah blah blah. And then he like, man, we got into it today too. So it all became funny. Like, what the heck? We all brothers, and we all got into it today. That's like, it became more of a, like, it was just like, what's the chances of that happening? You know? So his older brother and my older brother became best friends. And me and him became best friends. and that's how it started right there. We both kind of respected each other for not giving in. You know, I think if I would have got out that seat, I don't think me and Tall would have been friends. He would have been like, I'm not hanging with this, you know. But that's the type of dude he was, though. He was just, you know, he was a funny, goofy dude, but his dad raised him to be like sucker free. You know, like if he got out that seat, I'm not hanging with that dude. So it was just, yeah, that's how it started though, man. It was crazy.
What are the odds?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That everybody got into it that day.
It's crazy.
So that was like your first day of school and your first day of meeting everybody?
Yeah.
Memorable one, evidently.
Yeah, it was very memorable. We tell that story all the time.
Due to district lines, Cocky and Tall ended up going to different high schools, an experience he described as weird.
It was weird, you know. We kind of wanted to be on the same basketball team and, you know, rock with each other. But, you know, every day after school we would go to each other's house anyway, so it kind of didn't stop nothing.
You both play basketball?
Yeah, we both played basketball. We played on the same AAU team for a while, and then I came to his AAU team and I kind of took over. Real talk, I kind of took over, and he switched teams and he played for the Tar Heels. I played for the Heat. So eventually we ended up playing each other. You already know who won. We ended up beating his team or whatever. So you know, it's just talking mad trash to him.
Talk to me about Tall's passing. What happened? Coming up on the conclusion of Heavy Lyrics.
It was just tragic, man. You know, he walked up with a hoodie and somebody just started shooting. You kind of just, you know, you're lost.
Hey world, are you tuned in? Are you listening to your radio?
Hey world, Robotic Angel here, reporting live from the grave of America's misery.
Alcohol Angel, reporting live from the curved side of the cruel and cold streets of society. Stay tuned.
I wish to God I had a mother that was half the woman and mother that I am. A mother that cooked, that cleaned, that worked. A mother that was home when I got there. I wish to God I had that. Can you imagine what it's like to come home to a house with no food, no electricity, no water, nothing there but the filthy ass roaches to talk to?
You don't know that. Oh, really? Has he ever tried to contact you? Gave you a birthday card, a birthday gift?
I'm looking at your mom through the kitchen window. I see her, but I don't see you. Where you at?
Yes! Well, you better figure out something, Michelle, because your freedom is at stake. 10 years. I'm giving you 3 days.
Is something wrong? She doesn't answer, so ask again. Mom, what's wrong? Still no answer. And then the doctor asked, Devin, have you ever been tested for HIV?
A week to come up with my money. And if Lauren don't testify, you won't.
Talk to me about Tall's passing. What happened?
I mean, it was just tragic, man. You know, it was just, like, I can't even explain it. It's just, you know, I guess, man, it's just people, I guess people just hate on what they not, you know. I mean, Tall was a good dude. So for something like that to happen to a person like that, you would just have to, you know, it's hate. You know, it's just hate and malicious, just a cowardly act, you know. And just can't even come to grips with why that would happen. I ask myself all the time, you know, why would that happen to such a good dude, you know? And I mean, I know a million people in the city who do a lot more and walk around here like, you know, scot-free, nothing ever happened to them, you know. So I just kind of like ask guys sometimes, like, why does stuff happen to people like that, you know? And not only that, like, why is so much stuff happening to me? Like, you know, are you trying to get my attention for something, or, you know? I don't know. It's just hard to grasp.
He was just sitting down.
Yeah, he was just at the park with his girl. And somebody came up and, you know, start shooting. You know, and me being, I wasn't even in town. I was in LA, so I get the call. His girlfriend calls me from the scene, like, why Tyler's still right there, you know? And I'm in LA, and she's just yelling. Like, it all brought me back to, like, the RJ. Same type of call. Same type of frantic in the voice, like, everything was, like, identical. And couldn't do nothing. I couldn't do nothing. For, like, the first time in my life, I felt like I couldn't help him, you know? Like that's my dude. Like, all I could do was just, I got the first flight back, and I just flew back. I didn't bring no clothes. I went straight to the airport, and I just flew back, and couldn't really believe it. I didn't believe it. I thought, like, you know, I was gonna get a call, like, okay, he's cool, you know, he's coming out of surgery. So when I landed, it all sunk in. Everybody's calling me. My phone's going crazy. I'm getting calls from, like, battle rappers in, like, New York and all over the country calling me, like, trying to get, like, information, or is it true, you know? And I'm like, I'm not answering nobody call. I had, like, 120 missed calls. It was crazy. That day was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
And she didn't get a good look at their faces, or they were wearing masks?
You know, I don't know. I can't really answer for her. You know, I don't really know. But from what I've asked, and from what I've when I talk to her, from what I hear, you know, I mean, he had on a hoodie, so, you know, you just gotta put yourself in that position. If you're at the park chilling, I mean, that, you know, that happens fast. You know, it's not like, you know, I heard the back was turned. He walked up with a hoodie and somebody just started shooting. You kind of just, you know, you're lost. You don't know where it's coming. You know, by that time, you know, somebody already gone. But I don't know. It's I don't know, man. Everything can come out. Everything can come out. You know, streets talk. Everything can come out. You know, I just wanted to be there with him. You know. I just feel like I could have protected him. If I was there, we would have been in the studio. He wouldn't have been at the park, or, you know, I just felt like by me not being there, he just kind of, you know, just wanted to just get out the house and talk to his girl. But when he with me, all we do was work. So I don't know. I just always think if I was there, would it have been different? If I was in town, would we have been doing something else, or, you know? But I mean, when anything happens like that, you could have been like, you know, why didn't I go left instead of right, or, you know, it's natural. It's a natural feeling. I don't question God. You know, I don't feel responsible. I just feel like if I was there in town, would he have been at the park? That's like
guilt.
Not really. I wouldn't call it guilt. It's just kind of.
What if?
Yeah, just a what if. Just a big what if. No guilt, because at the end of the day, I mean, he wasn't doing nothing. He was just chilling with his girl, you know. So, like we all have done before, you know. So it's just crazy how it happened.
As he regained his composure, we talked about what's in his future.
So what's next for Cocky? What's going on with you now? You said you're working on a mixtape, right?
Yeah, I'm working on the mixtape right now. Graduation. The name is very deep, a lot of thought behind the name. Like I said, we always come up with a different name. So I came up with Graduation for this new mixtape.
Do you think he kind of whispered that in your ear?
I came up with it when he was still here.
Okay.
But he did give his approval. We always come up with names for our mixtape, and if I don't like it, I'll tell him. If you don't like it, nah, that one ain't tight. But it was instant. It was an instant agreement. Yeah.
So what kind of songs are on there?
A lot of real life songs. A lot of pain. A lot of how to get through pain songs. I just shot a video yesterday for one of my songs on there. It's called Lonely Nights in Weedsmont. And it basically explains what I go through now when he's not here, when I'm just by myself, just those lonely nights, and you just feel like you just can't even come to grips with what life is bringing, So, there's a lot of music on there that's just representing people who go through tragedies and people who go through struggles with not only deaths but just everyday stuff, like finding out, your mom has cancer, or you can't pay your bills, or it's just a lot of songs, just how to get through, just never quit songs.
Never quit songs. I think that's maybe this should be like the anthem. The whole mixtape should be the anthem of Stockton right now. There's
Real talk.
a lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So the Graduation is your next project.
Yes.
As far as musically, is there anything else going on?
I want to do I'm real big on single mothers, I'm real big on single mothers, and I want to do something like a scholarship fund for single mothers who has a kid but can't afford for them to go to college. They might have the grades, they might have the potential to get through college, but they just don't have the money.
For the mothers or the children?
For the mothers and the children. For the mothers to give to the children.
Okay.
It's kind of like, I'll financially support them through college and get them through, so hopefully one day, they can get back to that single mother like I plan on doing. Yeah,
He also spoke about moving back to LA.
I met a lot of people in LA. It's crazy. It's crazy in LA. I love it.
Do you think you'll actually go back down to stay there?
Yeah, I'm planning on moving back soon.
So everybody that wants to work with you now better hurry up. Is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
Basically. But I love it out there, and I plan on moving back real soon.
What about LA just makes you gravitate towards there?
You get to see stuff that you normally don't get to see here in Stockton, so it's just like the whole atmosphere. You can not have $1 in your pocket, but the atmosphere will make you feel like somebody, like, man, like I'm really here right now, so it's just a very, very successful city, and it makes you feel successful to be around that type of atmosphere.
Here's where we start to kind of wind down and end the interview.
Okay.
So here's your opportunity to say anything to the family that try to press charges against you. What would you say to them?
I just would want to know, what made y'all turn against me like that?
I think everybody would want to know that.
Yeah.
To the shooter, to the shooters, if there are multiple, of Tall, what would you want to say to them?
I feel like God will take care of that. I don't really want to, I don't feel like I really got to get into that. I feel like God will take care of it. They'll get what's coming to them, so.
For the fans of Tall, for those who loved him the most, what do you have to say to them?
Just, if you want to see Tall, just keep watching me, and I'm gonna always keep him in the loop, I'm gonna always keep him there, so Tall will never be gone. Physically maybe, but his legendary style and music and everything it'll keep living as long as I'm here. So shout out to my fans, man. I love y'all to death. Y'all keep me motivated. Y'all keep me grounded. If it wasn't for my fans and my family, you know, and a strong girlfriend behind me, I wouldn't know what to do, man. I'd be lost right now. You know, I've been through so much, and if it wasn't for those people, my fans, I wouldn't be even pursuing music right now. I'd be walled up in the corner somewhere, wondering why everything's happening. But yeah, they just keep me inspired. I'm very grateful that y'all acknowledge everything that I've, been accomplishing and everything that I'm working towards. And thank you for giving me an outlet for more people to view what I'm about.
After sitting down and talking with Cocky, you come to realize he's actually a humble guy. And although he's lost his son and his best friend, he's more determined than ever to sit on top of that food chain. He's got words of encouragement and enlightenment on his upcoming project, The Graduation. And tonight, out in LA, he has a battle up against CB Conflict. Good luck, Cocky. Good night. This has been Ashley Gordon for Heavy Lyrics.